Hello and welcome to Triggers and Attitude. This is Doug Holly. I'm sitting here with BK. Today's guest on the show is Bryan Winston, combat vet Bryan Winston. He's going to be telling us a little. We're going to do some discussing on the military today and yesterday, I guess. And also we're going to, he's going to show us how to make a bug out bag. Now when I was talking to you before, okay, last night as a matter of fact, and we were talking about this bug out bag, I had no idea what a bug out bag was. So you kind of enlightened me about it. Maybe there's some people out here that don't have any idea what I'm talking about. And you can kind of enlighten them a little bit on that.
Yeah, I think it's, I've known about it, but I think being in the military,
right,
it's more of a common thing in term with us. Over the last couple of years, countries come and go with different issues. And
right.
It's becoming more and more of a thing now online. You can see different people doing different things.
It's not like prepper or something, right? I mean, it's not.
I think that's where it started.
Maybe not to that extent.
No, not to that extent to where, you're packing gold and silver in your bag in case you want to barter and exchange with somebody. But,
right.
If you're in a situation where you need to be up and out and be gone for 72 hours off grid, so to speak.
Right.
You're going to need things that's going to keep you alive. And
I can see that happening. I can see it happening. A husband comes in and catches you.
Right.
Yeah, you need to be off the grid for a while.
Right on.
Right.
I think longer than 72 hours, probably.
Right. Well, maybe you need to pack a bigger bug out bag for that. But the bug out bag, now, you've got some interesting stuff there, but we're going to cover that later. You were in Iraq.
Correct.
Was it Afghan too, or just Iraq?
Both of them, Iraq
both
and
of them.
Afghanistan.
I thought you were in Afghanistan and Iraq, both. I'm going to tell you all just a little story, a little background here, on how I've came to know Bryan. His father, Smokey, a lot of people know him as Rick. I know him as Smokey. We were best friends all the way through grade school and high school and all that up in St. Louis, Missouri. We both later on went on to be policemen. We worked together as policemen. I think your dad was about 30 years in it whenever he, I know I was a little over 27 and he was in longer than me, so he was probably close to 30 years as a law enforcement officer.
I think by the time it was all said and done, he had some miles on him.
Oh my gosh, and you can tell by looking at him he had the miles on him.
Yeah.
Yeah. But anyway, me and his dad are very close. He's my best friend. I call him my brother. He is my brother. He's closer to me than anybody. Now lives down in Florida, the Sunshine State. Went down there and became a motor cop down in Daytona Beach. And he was, I can't. I'm going to have him come up and be on the show one of these days so that we can reminisce and talk about some of our old war stories on the air. That'll be quite entertaining. As a matter of fact.
That will be a must-see TV.
Must see. But anyway, you came out of the military in 2009?
I did.
Right? As a corporal, right?
Yes.
Okay. So I don't want to bring back anything bad, but I mean, you're a combat vet, your eyes have seen things that the majority of eyes will never see, which leads me to say, if your eyes could only unsee what they've seen, you'd be okay.
That's a good assessment.
Yeah. See, I come up with them every now and then. Also, when we're talking about we've got to talk about PTSD. Okay. You suffered immensely with all kinds of different problems trying to get lined out, which thank God you are now.
Upright and alive today.
Right. But anyway, PTSD is, and I'm sure everybody knows what PTSD is. It comes in different forms. First responders, are very subject to PTSD. Your combat vets, I suffer with PTSD from being a policeman and working in the coroner's office for a couple of years, but and I'm not by any means comparing that to a combat vet because they've went through so much more. But what I am saying is PTSD isn't something just for the military. It's not, not for the military, but it's not just something that combat vets have an issue with.
No, I agree. I think people when they hear the term,
right,
they assume military. Yeah. That's kind of what it's been thrown around since
Desert
Storm, basically.
Yeah.
But like you stated, they don't understand that police, fire, EMS. Mm-hmm. That's an everyday thing they see and go through these things, and people forget about them because they're kind of like at the back of folks' minds when that stuff comes up.
Well, it's always been associated with military.
Yeah. Yeah, that's where the term kind of started coming out, is when we started getting into different conflicts.
Right.
They just associate one with the other.
Right. We and if you go back even further before the term PTSD, post-traumatic stress disorder, then you'll get into what they used to call flashbacks.
Or shell shock was another
shell
term.
Shock. Right. Had to talk a vet out from under a table in a bar one time. That was what we called back then he was in a flashback.
Yeah.
And that was kind of tricky. Actually, if our lieutenant hadn't came in, that was a retired military man and was able to speak the soldier's language, it could have turned out a lot worse than what it was. As it was, he got him out of there calmly, and everything turned out good.
Yeah, it's funny you said use a soldier's language, but it's common, I'm sure, probably with police work.
Right.
It's just certain ways of talking.
Mm-hmm.
You're instantly drawn in by that person because now you feel like they understand you, they're on the same page.
Right.
And it's a little bit different than somebody who isn't familiar with that to come in.
He ended up more or less giving him an order because, like I said, it was our lieutenant, okay? Right off the bat, I guess, the soldier spotted the bars, One time the lieutenant asked him if he knew what those meant, Well, then it was starting to be sir. And so that was kind of an opening, I think, that, and then he just, actually, after he talked to him for a while, he actually told him that, now what I want you to do is get out from under that table and come here.
Yeah, it's almost like their mind reverts back to where they're in service.
Right.
And they're in a situation where, obviously, with an officer in the military, that professional
Did you have
courtesy. Flashbacks? No.
Right.
But I do relate to the story, in a way that if I'm in a room and there's 10 people in the room, and one of them's military, but they carry themselves in a way, I'm going to kind of go in that direction.
Right.
I think a lot of it has to do with the structure that's formed and the authority that's instilled in you.
Right.
It's funny how even being out of the military, you feel like that's the route you're supposed to go.
Right.
You just kind of follow that way.
Well, it's I think because of my son, you're very good friends with my son. From what I've gained from him, excuse me, it's almost like a brotherhood type deal. Mm-hmm. Okay, you feel, and I'm sure he does too. I know he does because we've talked about it. A certain bond with another soldier.
Yep.
And that would probably also there wouldn't be a limit on it, really, would there, to what branch of the Army it was in, they were in, because whenever you guys get over in the theater, you're all one. You've got each other's back.
Yeah, I mean, all branches, we poke fun at each
Sure.
other and stuff, and that goes to, like you said, a brotherhood. It's
Right.
like having your big brother, your little brother or sister, and if one of my persons that I served with, any one of them ever called me and said, hey,
Right.
I would jump over barbed wire fence and
Right.
burning trees to go to them to help
Exactly.
them. And it wouldn't be well, maybe I shouldn't, or what if I did? It would be no doubt. It would happen.
Yeah, it's like me and your dad.
Yeah.
Okay. When we were policemen, it was a brotherhood. Okay. I don't care what you did. If you were my brother in blue, we backed you 100%.
Yeah.
We may talk to you outside,
And that's the same path that we all take.
but we were there for you. Not that way anymore. I gotta add that. Okay.
I've heard that from Dad as well.
Have you?
Times have changed.
Oh
according
my
to him.
gosh, man. If you're a policeman, I just got to throw this out there, okay? Hate me if you want to. If you're a policeman nowadays, you better be wearing your vest backwards to keep the knives out of your back. Because it ain't a brotherhood no more. You may have some of your good friends, that you trust immensely and would trust them with your life, okay? But that ain't all of them, okay? Watch out. Keep watching. Keep looking behind you. I'm telling you, you heard it here first. But anyway, I got off of that. I just had to say that.
No, you're right. I worked for the Department of Corrections after I got out of the military, and the motto was you have to be more aware of the fellow corrections officers than you do the inmates.
Politics. It's all
yeah.
politics.
They would step on the knife to get over you.
Yeah. Yeah.
In order to get to the front of the line.
Absolutely.
So to speak.
Politics. How can I look better in the eyes of my superior?
Right.
How am I going to get that promotion? Oh, I got to cut your throat. Okay, that's no big problem.
Yeah, and they don't bat an eye.
Yeah, in the day, back in the day, didn't have to worry about that.
And I don't know what part of society changed,
Right,
to make it that way. I mean, because being a policeman's being a policeman, being in the military is being in the military.
Well,
where did the times change that it became a individual thing
I think
versus teamwork?
I think I can put my finger on it. Okay. I had you read the commentary that I'm going to do in the next day or two. And if you recall, as it comes down through that commentary, what am I talking about? I'm talking about how children are raised.
Yep.
Okay? So, see, I was raised, and I know you were, we were raised to know what the word respect meant. Now, that's going away, if it's not already went away.
Right.
Okay? The children today, the kids today, the teenagers today, the millennials today, okay? No. The word respect isn't even in the vocabulary. I'm going to say very, very few. Very, very few. I do run into some of them that are very respectful. Okay?
But that goes back to the parenting.
Exactly.
So, I mean, where it got lost between those parents and the parents today, it had to be the same situation that we're going through now. I mean,
well,
if you can't discipline your child to teach them some respect, then there's not going to be any respect. There's not going to be any repercussions.
Well, there's a fear of that now.
Exactly, because your hands are tied. It's
Right.
the same way with law enforcement. You cannot enforce the law.
No.
You're basically, it's tax dollars just riding around in a car.
Exactly.
Just for show.
Exactly. That's all it is.
You're not allowed to be a policeman.
No, absolutely not. And back to the disciplining of the children, okay? And I'm sure you were. I know you were. Okay? My mother.
I
still have wooden spoon marks.
Doug has thong marks.
I do. A flip-flop used to be called a thong, people.
His mom didn't really whip him with her thong.
No. Mother didn't wear a thong. I had to explain that to one of my grandsons one time. But anyway, my mom was probably the fastest shoe in the West. She could throw around corners. I don't know if they go to school for that, if there's an academy, or was an academy for that, But I'm telling you, she was dead on with that shoe and a Hot Wheels track. Remember the orange Hot Wheel track? Oh man, I went to school so many times, man, with them Hot Wheel tracks, whelps on the back of my butt and on the back of my legs and everything, And instead of the teacher back then saying, "Oh, well, we're going to have to notify DFS. This poor child's being abused," okay?
They were just going to continue what your mother started.
They said you probably deserved it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that was the end of it, And by God, I knew what respect was, I respected my mom and dad.
It seems to me like I watch a lot of things going on now, and the word respect is forgotten.
Sure it is.
But to some degree, it's the level of respect that they have, or for things that don't really have the need for it.
Right.
What they're respecting is not morals, values, family time, God, church, things of that nature.
Right.
They are more concerned about, let's respect my PlayStation or my video games.
Right.
Because to me that's important versus what your parents are doing or saying, or school for that matter.
Right.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Now, I'm going to give you an example. Okay. Well, thank you, Bruce. My naked lady ashtray. I'll just set her up there so that she can look at me. Here's a perfect example. I've done teaching over at the college, Mineral Area College, MAC. And one day on lunch, I was across. What's that place called over there? It used to be a Shell station. I think it's called Miss B's
or something. Yeah.
Miss B's now. Anyway, I went over there to grab me a sandwich or a slice of pizza or something. As I was going in, there's these two college girls walking up. Okay, I hurried up. I grabbed the door and I held it open for them. They looked at me like I was the biggest Chester molester in the world. And the only thing that I was doing was being courteous, respectful, and holding the door open for a couple of ladies.
That's kind of how society has pushed that, though.
Right. Yeah. And if it had been Bruce, I could understand them looking at him. Okay. But me.
Well, it's something they don't see. They don't see, people respecting one another.
And
So
they
that's why they look at
probably
you that
won't ever.
No. To have a man or a gentleman open a door for you or hold it open,
Right.
to them, that's...
But had it been a lady a little bit older, a little bit more mature,
Right.
she would have thanked you and thought that was the best thing in the world.
Now, and I've had that, because I do. I hold doors open for women,
Right.
ladies,
Sure.
if I get the opportunity,
Right.
And the older ones do. Well, thank you.
Well, they understand, what you're doing and where it's coming from.
Right.
Right. They're not looking at it as what the college
He wants to
girls
look at
were.
my butt whenever I walk out or something,
Yeah.
which
Now, there's an
could have
idea.
been the case. Who
I
knows?
wasn't thinking about that, but by God, you will.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's how they think. That's
It
the
is.
mindset.
It is. And I also want to mention, while we're on the subject of college girls, okay, I also want to mention that Bruce's daughter, Kayla,
Yep.
has
my
made
daughter.
the dean's list
Cool. Congratulations.
with a 4.0. Now,
How it happened, I don't know.
now, I don't either, coming from you.
I know, right?
Yeah, but I knew that was good. I knew the 4.0 was good.
It is.
Okay. I thought I had a 4.6 until I was advised that 4.0 is the highest it goes. So somebody told me wrong.
Yes, they
Well,
do.
your standards
Yeah.
are higher. And then in order to keep yourself up there, you have to create
That's
a new
That's
plateau.
You heard it here first.
There's no reason to doubt yourself. You're still up there.
I'm way up there. I'm way up
You're
there.
way out there.
Let's talk a little bit about. Okay, we've touched on PTSD. Okay, we haven't really discussed, and I don't know if you wanted to get into it or I don't want to push you in any way, because because I know how I feel whenever I get pushed. But I didn't know if you want to talk about some of your bad experience, some of your good experiences, what's helped, you know, what you find that's working for you, and it won't work for everybody. Yeah. But what you found has worked for you. You know, there may be somebody watching, you know, that's dealing with this stuff, you know, and you know, they might say, hey, man, you know, I'm going to try that.
And I don't mind talking about it because, yeah, my experiences and the things that have helped me are not going to help everybody, right? But they're going to help one person.
Right.
There you go.
I've watched and listened to a lot of people, you know, over the last 10 or 12 years going through a lot of the things that I've gone through, and not one of them has been the same, but you take a little bit from everyone.
Right on.
Right.
You know, and, yeah, I mean, I got out 10 years ago, and, you know, for the first year or so, I was okay. You know, I kind of took the time to be a dad and just kind of got used to not getting up early in the military lifestyle. Went to work for the Department of Corrections, and while I was there, some of the symptoms of the PTSD started coming out.
Right. Right.
I've been told typically it takes a couple of years before you really start showing true symptoms. I'll be the first one to tell you I struggled with alcohol like nobody's business. Right. But that was my way of dealing with the things that were bothering me. You know, the nightmares, anger. Anger was one of the biggest things I went through. Everything made me mad.
One of mine, yeah.
The color of the walls, the color, whatever, it made me mad. And, you know, in 2005, when I first got back from Iraq, they didn't have a lot of programs at the VA. I think at that point, the VA was getting so overwhelmed with so many people coming back with injuries and whatnot. You know, they were behind the times. They were not up to date, and they were not ready for not only one, but two conflicts.
Right. Right.
Not to mention the veterans that were already kind of in the system and out there before this stuff started.
What are you going to do with the Vietnam veterans now?
Yeah, you know, and them guys and gals got forgotten for so many years.
Right.
And now it's almost like they got a second, you know, kick
right.
in the backside because you got the guys and gals coming home now that are in the front. So these, you know, they're out.
Exactly.
You know.
Exactly.
So, yeah, you know, there wasn't no real mental health issues as far as like you could go to groups or whatever. There wasn't a lot of that going on. Like the VA had programs, I'm sure to some extent, but when I got back from Iraq in 2006, actually, I went to the doctor and they're like, well, you know, we'll start you on this antidepressant.
Right.
Did nothing for me.
Right.
You know, and at that time, even still to this day, it takes 6 to 8 weeks to get an appointment.
Yeah.
And by then, Lord only knows what could happen.
Right on.
Exactly.
Right. Yep.
So, in order to deal with a lot of that, I drank.
Yeah.
And I drank a lot. And
self-medicated with alcohol.
It did. You know, and my theory was if I got, you know, drunk enough where I didn't care or, you know, that it wasn't bothering me, then in a way I was dealing with it because I was kind of suppressing it.
Right. Right.
Yeah, I got a couple of DUIs since Iraq and Afghanistan.
Yeah. Sure.
It did. It's a real struggle, and if it affects not only you, but you know my 12-year-old daughter now. I have issues with because of stuff from the past. But
right.
Yeah, I mean, it's unfortunate, but I think the VA personally, you know, a lot of that needs to be privatized. I think the government, you know, should just do away with the VA. Yeah. Give veterans, you know, health care to where they can go to their own doctor, versus waiting 6 weeks.
Right.
You know, they have a thing now where 22 veterans a day die by suicide. Right. Well, that's because, you know, maybe Joe Jones had to wait 8 weeks to get in.
Exactly.
You know,
exactly.
And a hotline number is not going to help you.
Right.
Not help yourself.
And the VA doctors are just learning actually how to deal with this problem.
Yeah.
Okay, I think it was a kind of where this all hit them, like you said, man. 2 back-to-back conflicts. They're still dealing with now the Vietnam veterans coming forward, okay, and them being able to treat Vietnam veterans. You know, now we've got 2 conflicts just back-to-back, and now there's this influx of soldiers, okay. And I think that it was a trial and error type
almost
deal.
Like guinea pigs.
Yeah, with the doctors, you know, they didn't know what to do, so they were trying this, they were trying that, you know. And I'm not going to say anything bad about the doctors, okay, because, you know, they're human. They're put in positions where they don't know what the hell to do.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, I don't know if, you know, I'm not psychologist or anything,
Right.
so I don't know what kind of training goes into that, but I would imagine the training now compared to 15, 20 years ago or 2003 when
my
Iraq War
gosh,
started,
yeah.
it's completely different because
Yeah.
going into the veterans healthcare, you're dealing with somebody who could snap. I mean, lose
Right.
it at the drop of a dime.
Right.
Over something that happened thousands of miles away from home.
Exactly. Exactly.
And I think it's a whole different level of training. You have to be ready for that person and that type of mentality only versus a wider range of things.
Exactly. Exactly.
It's not your typical psychiatrist where you lay on the couch for 30
Right on.
minutes and tell them about how bad the gas prices are and you're stressed out over groceries or
Right,
whatever.
right.
This is more than real life.
Yeah.
And they just weren't prepared for it.
Exactly. Exactly. Now, unlike yours, you said yours kind of just creeped up on you, a couple of years.
I think it was building and I just didn't recognize it.
Right.
Life stressors, kids, marriage, whatever.
Mine was all of a sudden. Okay. All of a sudden, I had a brain injury in an accident, and that started mine.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if anybody else has ever heard this, but a world-renowned, Levi was his name, world-renowned psychiatrist was the one that diagnosed me. And he explained it to me like this. Okay? He said that our brains have a safe inside them that we put memories in, and it's got a lock on it. And every now and then we unlock it, we take a memory out, we talk about it, but then we put it back in the vault or the safe, and we lock it back up, and we're good. Okay? That's where they stay. He said when I had my brain injury, I busted the lock off of that safe. That was the best way he could explain it to me. Because, I got a 4.6.
4.6, right?
Yeah, great average, But he said that was the best way to explain it to me, was that I busted the lock on this safe, and now all these memories were just running wild. And then he says, now this is how, there's no surefire set cut and dried treatment.
Yep.
Okay, because everybody's different. He said, you're going to have to find a way to gather up all the memories, put them back in that safe, and find a new lock.
And that's scary because if you don't know how to manage your emotions when all that's going on,
Yeah.
you're kind of like a wild lion just out in the open.
Right on.
Yeah, they tried me, and God love BK here. I mean, one of the things that the doctor said was to let me talk. Let me talk.
Lord knows he can talk.
Okay, so him and my wife, okay, they tag out on each other. Okay,
Take
you
turns.
listen for a while. I'm sick of it, and then BK would come in, and he'd listen for a while, and then he'd tag out on my wife, okay, it's your turn, But I had to, that was one of the ways that I dealt with it, is I had to keep talking. It did not matter to me. Like, see, I understand that a lot of military guys, they have to be talking to somebody that was either actually there or somebody's dealing with the same thing, no matter where they got it. My thing was, it didn't matter who I was talking to, just, hey, you got ears? Hey, let me tell you something. Okay?
That I have seen, for me, that has actually kind of helped in a way for myself, because I was kind of one-minded for a while where I would only talk to VA people.
Right.
I was
Right.
I was military, I was gung-ho.
Yeah.
VA was the best, and I only want to deal with VA people. Everybody else didn't know anything.
Right.
And I have found that now that my stubbornness has eased,
Right.
that it's kind of the same way. If somebody is going to take a general interest in listening to me talk, I would
Right.
love to talk and get it out versus
Right.
how I used to do 10 years ago, pack it away and,
Exactly.
and
Bottle
drink
it up.
to hold it down. Yeah.
Right.
So
Exactly.
it does make a difference.
And I by no means do I mean that there's anything funny about it.
No, it's
Okay,
not funny.
there's nothing funny about this. Okay, but I have found that poking fun at it, your own situations, helped me tremendously.
Oh yeah,
Okay.
I do it all the time.
Yeah.
And my parents, they kind of poke with me, but they know me. You know,
right,
they
right.
know what buttons can be pushed and what can't.
Exactly. You know,
but it does help bring humor to it.
They laughed at me all the time. The people who are supposed to be taking care of me, okay? I've seen him roll in the floor, man, laughing his butt off, man. That's something that I had did.
Funny.
You know, and my wife right along with him, you know, and I'm thinking these are the people that are supposed to be taking care of me. Look at them, they're laughing.
Well, we didn't let you have knives. I mean, it was, we watched you.
We removed all the sharp objects from the room, you know. At least I wasn't running around outside naked, whistling Dixie, sitting on my gun.
No, that was
Not
before.
That was
before.
That was before this ever happened, right?
Right.
Yeah, exactly. But what I want to stress to the viewers is it don't make any difference, okay? I went through a period there to where I was kind of ashamed, okay, because I thought, well, you know, am I weak? You know, because I see all the other coppers, man, that ain't having no problem with this, you know.
That you know of.
That I know of. That's what I'm getting ready to say. Okay. Yeah, a lot, you know, a lot of, and it's probably due to a lot of it was the areas that me and your dad worked in, you know. Mm-hmm. And then, you know, I worked for the coroner's office too, so everybody knows what that entails. So anyway, but I went through this period, man, to where I was kind of ashamed. You know, I was thinking, man, I'm weak or something, you know. But I'm here to tell anybody out there looking or, you know, listening and viewing right now. And I know there's one. There's gonna be one out there that's really taking an interest in this program that we're talking about this, because, you know, you've got some of these same deals going on, you know, that Bryan and I have explained, you know, and don't ever feel weak or that you're not as strong as the other guys, you know, or gals, because it's not an issue of that. And if you think that you're above this disease, then you better think again, okay? Because like with me, man, it hit me all at once. With Bryan, it hits him, right? Kind of creeps up on him. But if he'd have recognized, it may have came a little faster too, right? I mean, you know, it might have been creeping a little faster than what you thought it was had you recognized or not denied what was
Denial.
Happening. Denial.
Denial.
Exactly. Denial's a big thing, okay? And denial's something that'll make you eat your gun. I'm telling you.
I have had a few nights where that was almost on the menu.
No,
and,
exactly. Yeah.
You know, I don't push anything, you know, towards anybody to make them believe or understand anything, but I think my faith ultimately is what kept me from pulling that.
Right.
You know.
Exactly.
And everybody has their own thing and whatever, but
and I don't want to sound like, you know, I'm saying, oh, well, I've seen so much more than most coppers have. Not true, okay? There's St. Louis City coppers, there's St. Louis County coppers, there's NYPD coppers, there's Los Angeles coppers, there's coppers everywhere, man, that has seen a ton more, and experienced a lot more than I have. There's soldiers that have experienced and seen a lot more than you have. Keith has, you know. So I'm not trying to demean, you know, anybody here. You know, I'm just saying across the board, it's all of us.
Everybody has their different point.
Exactly.
To where where something is gonna either come or go.
Exactly.
You know, it doesn't, like you said, it doesn't have to be, you know, more than the other guy. It could be one thing. It could be several things.
Exactly.
You know.
Exactly. But anyway, and you know the phone number here is 573-210-6815. That's 573-210-6815. Call me. I'll sell you a used car. But anyway, if you do have questions about this, you know, if you're a law enforcement, if you're EMS, you know, if you're a first responder, okay, and you haven't, you know, issues or maybe seeing some signs you don't know, give me a call. I'll talk to you about it. If you're military, and you know the same goes for you too, okay, and I'll put you right in touch with this guy right here, you know. And, you know, sometimes it helps to talk to somebody about that, you know. and I'm not taking anything away from the doctors, should talk to a doctor.
Yeah, sometimes,
Should. But sometimes it helps.
military guys like to talk to another guy they served.
Exactly.
You know?
Exactly. Or even preempt with, hey, what do you think I ought to do?
Yeah.
If they want somebody they can trust to do that.
Just don't be embarrassed. That's
No,
the biggest thing.
do not be embarrassed, man, because I mean it's some of the strongest guys I've seen, you know. And I'm telling you, this thing will bring you to your knees, man. Bring you to your knees. But anyway, they tried a bunch of medications on me.
Yeah.
And finally they found one.
Well,
I love everybody.
it's still in discussion.
I do. I love everybody. Give me a kiss, BK. I do. They've got me on. It took a while. It took a while to find them. Okay?
Yeah.
Some of them made me just as loony as a bed bug. I'm telling you. You can vouch for that.
Yeah.
Of course, the laughs have went down since they got me on the right medication.
It's not as fun anymore.
It's not as fun, is it?
No.
And
Well,
you're
for
probably
which
the same
one,
way.
though? Which ones is not as fun for?
Yeah, for them. Yeah. And they probably did the same thing with you. Tried you on all kinds of different things.
Yeah, guinea pig.
They'll finally hit something.
Yeah.
Finally hit something.
Well, it's practicing.
And I mean, and the comedy. You guys laughed at me. I laughed at me.
Yeah.
And now I take a pill and I'm okay. No, but I do. It's like when I tell a cop joke. I can because I was a cop. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Moving on. What are we moving on to here? Hey, now I know what I'm just looking at my notes, and I really wanted to bring this up. Okay. Back in 2005, you got to do something that a lot of us only dream about.
George Bush did it that year in St. Louis, too.
Oh, so he upstaged you, didn't he?
He tried to.
He
He
upstaged.
went first just because they knew the big show was coming in later. No offense, I did vote for Bush, but yeah, he did it. He did it the same year in St. Louis as I did.
Is that right?
Yep.
Yeah, but he didn't know you were going to do it either.
No,
So,
if he
other-
had, he probably would have just been
would-
like, "Nah, I can't make it."
I can't upstage him, man.
Yeah.
Ain't no way, Anyway, Bryan threw out the first pitch at Busch Stadium.
I did. Busch Stadium 2.
Busch Stadium 2 threw out the first pitch for the 2005 game. It was like in July, right?
Yeah, it was at the end of July.
Yeah. So, it's not that I'm envious, I really can't stand him after that, but
You got a little green tint to you.
a little bit,
Yeah.
yeah. But I watched that, man. I mean, all the news stations they covered it and everything. Did you get to meet like any of the players and all that stuff?
The only player I met was the one that caught the pitch
Yeah.
at the time. He was a relief pitcher.
That wasn't Yachty, was it?
No.
Oh.
No, they the big name guys weren't around.
Yeah.
I did.
If it had been Yachty, you'd still be on your knees in front of him, right? Come
Come
on,
that sounded
Bryan.
a little
Come
awkward,
on
but,
now.
I did get a poster from Fox Sports that said "Support our troops,"
Yeah.
and it was signed by everybody on the Cardinals, even the bigger guys. So
Cool, man.
But they were doing their before the game stuff in the
Yeah.
locker room. They didn't have
Right.
time for me.
Right. I know I used to know. I don't even know if he's in their publicity office anymore. He was a big name player. Okay, his name was Ted Savage.
Yep, heard of them.
Yeah. Doctor Savage. But anyway, he used to when I was a policeman here. Our chief was a AAA player down in Springfield, and he was able to deal with Ted Savage and able to get Fred Bird down here and all that stuff, to the elementary school and stuff like that, So that's how
That's a big deal, especially being this far away from St. Louis for them to.
Right.
Not a lot of kids probably make the trek to St. Louis
Well-
for a ball game like that.
Well, the chief had quite a bit of pull, because he did go on into the major leagues. Was I believe, and I may not be telling this right, but I believe that he was a relief pitcher.
Okay.
For the Cardinals, and that was back in the '60s or so. But anyway, I won't say his name. He don't want me to say his name or whatever, you know. But anyway, that's how I got acquainted with Savage, you know. And then later on, I contacted him about I have a Down syndrome granddaughter,
Right.
and you know, who was it? Ball player had Down syndrome. Was it Warner?
Albert Pujols?
Warner.
Kurt Warner, the football player.
Warner. Yeah. And then Pujols too.
Yep.
Okay. Well, Kurt Warner, I don't think was involved in this. I'm thinking about something else. I'm thinking about Coates or something. But anyway, Pujols. You know,
Yep.
He was big into Down syndrome foundations and all that stuff, and he used to have a Down syndrome day there at Busch Stadium. You know, where we could all go and you know we could all go and we got to walk the field with the kids and all this stuff. You know, and as a matter of fact, Savage set our seats up for us and everything for all the kids, you know. So, cool. I mean, you know, it was pretty cool, you know. Dr. Savage, pretty cool guy.
That's cool.
Pretty cool guy. But anyway, kind of got off the. Well, I didn't get really off the subject. We were talking about his
baseball.
First pitch, right?
Yeah.
Baseball.
Yep.
You know. But anyway, you're gonna show these people how to make a bug out bag. Now, you know, this is a bag that you can survive for like 72 hours, roughly.
That's kind of the theme to it. If you had to get away, 72 hours is kind of the number that's been floated around as far as time frame. Because you don't want to obviously pack for 2 weeks if you're trying to get out of a situation immediately.
Right.
Now there's a lot of guys out there thinking like me. Okay, is your bag gonna be just stuffed plumb full to where you can't get anything else in it?
Mine is not. Mine is probably, well, I have a standard backpack.
Right.
With standard school backpack a kid would wear. And mine is probably half full. Weighs probably 18 pounds maybe.
So there is room if I have to stay out in the woods for 72 hours, okay? There is room for me to pack my blow-up doll.
Depending on if you like big girls or thin girls. Well,
you know, I've got the patch kit that goes along with that, too.
Bicycle repair kit.
What are you laughing at?
I've
seen yours.
I've seen your patched up blow up doll.
Yours is not nearly as good looking as mine.
Well, mine ain't full of patches either.
I'm a biter.
I guess you are.
Making your own holes in the doll there.
Yeah. So what we're gonna do is I'm gonna slide some of this stuff over. It may take us just a minute or two. I'm gonna slide some of this stuff. See now, if the intern was here, the video production gal, she'd be able to say, okay, here's where you cut. Now we'll go back in and everything. Sure. But we don't know nothing about that editing stuff, man.
No.
You know?
We don't know.
I have problems with my TV. I don't even, the biggest part of the time I can't even find the channel that I need to watch, you know, I want to watch.
Yeah.
You know, that's
age.
It's bigger than all of us. It's bigger than all of us.
It is.
You know? So anyway, what we're going to do is we're going to slide some of this stuff over with the help of BK. We're going to get it out of the way. Me and Bryan's going to switch places. I'm going to be able to sit over there and just watch from now on. But he's going to show you a little bit of stuff that he's got, how to put it together, and hopefully how to survive for 3 or 4 days if you ever need to. Okay? So let's move some of this stuff around here. Ouch! You knew I was going to hurt myself some way, didn't you? Bryan, we are really prepared. We are really prepared here.
Really need that intern to help out.
Oh, don't we? Don't we? Said her name was Lexi, right?
I did.
Lexi, please. I'll even pay. I got some Snicker bars that's been around.
Just give her your Wi-Fi password. You'll probably make her happy.
No joke. No joke.
We can do that.
Can I do this?
No, probably
You know,
not.
if you wanted to set the computer there, we could do everything from here. Right? We don't have to make it
Oh, just like
big thing.
Just like right here.
There you go.
Yeah, and I can just
Can you do that?
kind of go through the bag and show you kind of what I carry and what I want in my bag if I have to get out and
Okay.
get going kind of quickly.
Are you good here?
Yep.
Like this? Let me get this thing down. It ain't gonna go down. Like it there. Down where it's gonna stick it up. There we go. There we go.
Good job.
Okay, I'm gonna sit back here. I'll ask a question probably every now and then.
All right, just sip on some coffee and
Oh, well, where's my coffee at? There it is. Okay, go ahead. I'm gonna smoke too.
okay. So we were talking earlier about it before we got online, and I was telling you how water, fire, and a means of shelter are probably your three biggest things. I've been watching a lot of videos on YouTube recently, and I see people that are putting together, well, I guess I call it a bug out bag. It's a military term, but I see people putting together emergency bags that generally would help you survive or get to a situation where you can put yourself in a safe place generally for 72 hours. Some of these videos, and it doesn't matter, you don't have to be military, police, fire, whatever, survival expert, but some of these videos that I see are making the bags kind of outrageous. It doesn't take a lot of money. I think total investment of all the stuff I have is probably like $40.
So a lot of these are like an overkill deal, right?
Yeah, you know, you don't need to try to pack like a cot, a tent, things of that nature.
I can do my blow up doll though.
You can get her in there. What I would do for that is I would get one of those vacuum seal machines like for food.
Oh,
That way you can scrunch her down real tight and low,
Yeah.
and she'll be dry and waterproof, except for
Yeah.
once you open the bag,
Well,
you're going to have to hold her hand and take her with you. My first bag that I have here, it's kind of just some basic things, but a lot of the stuff that I got, some of my first aid things I found at one of those dollar stores. I'm not going to name the name of the specific store, but they're all kind of the same. They all sell the same stuff. It has different names. I basically went in. I bought gauze pads. I bought some Excedrin, for headaches, stings, things of that nature. I have medical tape, some blue gloves for, if your hands come in contact with blood. So it's a basic first aid kit that I probably spent maybe $12 on. These are things where if you get a cut,
right.
you need to bandage it. You get dirt in it, you're gonna be in trouble.
Right.
But on the flip side to that, if you get a deep gouge and you don't have anything that you can cover that with, one of the things they did teach us in the military is pack it with dirt.
Right.
The goal is to get the blood to stop.
I
That's
heard
what
that.
you want.
I've
Stop the
heard that
bleeding.
before, right.
Quick clot used to be real popular with the military, but they stopped doing that
Now
because
it's super glue.
oh yeah, super glue is important too, but quick clot was causing more damage to remove by the surgeons than it was
Right.
actually doing good to stop the
see.
bleeding, so they stopped using that.
I see.
Tourniquets, I think are very important. With me, my tourniquet is, I got this at the dollar store as well. It's basically just the blue band. It's like a rubber band.
Right.
But, your belt, shoelaces, things of that nature, you don't really want to pinch. So when you pick out something for a tourniquet, you want to make sure that it's actually going to cut circulation off so you can stop the bleeding.
Yeah, that blue band is actually like the one they put around your arm when they're taking blood.
Yep, just like that. And dollar store sells them, they're $1.
Right.
I went to Walmart and got a couple other things. So now you got a first aid kit. It's real basic. Ace bandages, gauze, medical tape. I think I have an A&D ointment. Chapstick is real important. To me, at least it is,
Right.
Excedrin, just for like headaches, stings, whatever.
What a chapstick would be good, especially for somebody like you that's been kissing on the Stanley Cup up there.
Well, yeah, I did have to kiss the Stanley Cup last night. We'll talk about that. in a
After
minute.
900 other people.
They all look clean to me. I went to Walmart. So Walmart has a camping section, and they have a few things, but they have what the term is called glamping when you go camping, but you have to have the finest, fanciest, neatest things out there. Just look past all that stuff. What I went there for is an emergency blanket. It's the solar kind that will keep you warm. If you're out somewhere and you can build you a half shelter, that little blanket will do its job. Believe
Is
me.
that the silver kind?
It is. That
I've
looks like
seen-
aluminum foil.
Yeah, I've never actually had one, you know.
It's like
Played
covering
with
up with a
one, but-
piece of paper.
Yeah.
It's what it would, it makes sound, whatever. But they do the job.
Okay.
I went and got. I have 3 of them just because they're kind of cheap,
Yeah.
which is probably not the best way to do it. But I bought 3 cheap regular ponchos.
Right.
One would go over me and my gear to keep me dry, and 2 of them I could use for making towards a shelter or to put on the ground after a shelter, so I'm not laying on like damp ground.
Gotcha.
Just simple things like that. I also bought what they call as a life straw. Life
Now,
straw.
that thing right there was interesting to me.
Yeah, it's basically this tube.
That thing out. I thought it was a deer grunt call. when I seen it.
It kind of looks like that.
Yeah.
And it has a little device where you can hang it around your neck or whatever. I keep it in the bag with the other stuff just because I want everything together. So basically, you just pull the cap off of it. You stick this in a puddle, or a creek or something, and you drink out of it. It's going to filter the water inside, and I believe it filters up to 1,500 gallons before you need to
thing
replace
is
it.
No kidding.
That
Yeah,
thing's
and
amazing.
these are less than $20 at Walmart. So this
that
is
thing's amazing.
out of all the stuff I have here, this is probably the most expensive thing that I put in my bag.
You need to get you one of them for when Bernie kicks out.
Yeah.
So when you're down in the dumps, you can always take a drink.
Right. Yeah.
You know,
I noticed you got fish hooks in there too.
I do. Also in my bag, I have the reel. I don't have the whole entire pole. I know it doesn't sound right when you say, "Hey, I gotta go fishing," don't have the reels. But if I'm in a place where I could catch maybe 1 or 2 panfish, I have the reel. All I have to do is put the hook on it, the weight, and throw it out there. And the purpose was because obviously the reel's gonna fit in the bag, the pole won't.
Right.
So I brought along the reel, but I have several different size hooks, mostly for panfish, stuff that's easy to catch, sunfish, whatever,
Right.
little bass. And I put them in there as well. Part of my other kit that I do have one of those small like starter kits, fishing kits. It has a couple of hooks, a couple of weights, things of that nature, and it fits right in the backpack as well. It probably weighs maybe 2 ounces. It doesn't take up a whole lot of space.
Right.
You don't need to overcrowd your backpack with a bunch of things. Especially if you're looking for something, you want to make it simple to get in there, look, see what you have, and then get out.
You don't want to pack a bunch of luxury items, right?
No, you don't. And, to be honest with you, if you're having to get out of town and go somewhere, you're obviously not going there to have fun.
Right, exactly.
You're trying to save your own self and whatnot.
So the wife needs to leave her makeup out of my bag.
Unless you want to use some of it to camouflage your face.
Hey, there you go.
There's always that.
Sometimes we wish you would.
I also packed a sewing kit. That sounds kind of weird, but you want to maintain your clothing. You got to have clothing on, stay warm, whatever. Let's say you rip a shirt. Well, obviously you didn't pack a bag full of shirts. Maybe it's just a quick fix. You might even use the string for other things, needles too. But it's just a simple sewing kit, and make little repairs to your clothes as needed.
Right.
A couple other things I have, and when I originally built this, all my items were in these waterproof containers, and I thought, great, everything will stay dry. Well, then I learned that yes, they are neat, they are cool, everything is dry, but they're also adding weight to my bag.
Sure.
And so I came up with the idea that instead of doing that, I'm just going to Ziploc everything, and now I'm going to eliminate some weight out of my bag, and it's still going to stay dry. So this is just an add-on to some of the other kit, like the chapsticks, Band-Aids, things of that nature. If this is the only one that I carry now because it has the regular Band-Aids in it that would probably use more than the other emergency items. So this one I want to make sure that the Band-Aids are good to go in case I get a blister or whatever.
Right.
You need a saw. You can't carry a chainsaw. You can't carry, a bunch of crazy things. I do carry a 8-inch hatchet that is made by Gerber. And that thing, it's legit. It will cut down probably 6-inch saplings, for you to make some post, whatever. This is more for, little things that, for as far as making like timbers or not timbers, little sticks and stuff for a fire. It's easy to use. It's something to have in the bag in case you do forget your hatchet or whatever. But I happen to have the hatchet that goes in there, and, it's part of my bag.
Right.
Another item I have is extra pair of sunglasses. I know it sounds kind of glamorous, but let's say there's snow out somewhere.
Right.
Snow blindness is a legit thing.
Yep.
Anybody that's been in Alaska or anywhere like that, even in good old Missouri, on a sunny day, snow blindness will get you. Makes it hard to see.
Right.
And I also have some loose 550 cord. That is every military man's like good to go thing. 550 cord saves lives. I have a couple of different military scars, and the reasoning for that is the color. I like the color that kind of blends in with foliage and whatnot.
Now the 550 cord, for people that don't know,
Parachute cord.
Yeah, it's the airborne.
Correct.
The parachute cord, right?
Yeah, it's the same thing when you see Joe's falling out of the sky, the cords that hold the parachute.
Right.
That's the same thing. Now, there are different variations of that.
Grades.
Colors, size, whatever. I seen one recently that it's called 1100 cord. It's supposed to be double the strength.
Right.
I don't know. I've never seen it. I don't know if it's been tested, whatever.
Right.
And a lot of people don't know this either, but the inside of a 550 cord also serves as a purpose as well. There's different strengths to it. There's 5 different bands inside the 550 cord, or there's 7, but one of those is actually a fishing line.
Really?
So when you pull that open, you get different styles and different, ways of using things. So you got extra cord by itself there to use outside of this.
So actually, when that was designed, it wasn't just designed to be a parachute cord. They actually had survival in mind when they.
Yeah, there's different uses for it. Like adding the fishing line to it.
Yeah.
If you don't carry that stuff. Right. I carry an extra water bag so I can fill up and filter the water with this, and then fill it and carry it with me, so that way if there's not a spot, hey, I still got water in it.
Right.
It just holds 2 liters. It's something simple. I think that was like $1.50. I'm a big believer and lover of, well, military calls them D-rings, but you can get these at Walmart for, I think I paid $1.50 for one. I have several of them on my backpack. They come in handy. I also carry some bungee cords. So part of my shelter that I have in my bag, I have a tarp. Now, I didn't pick the right color. Obviously, I was kind of limited to what they had at the store, but my tarp is blue. So with the 550 cord, the bungee cords, you put them on the corners, kind of, run some sticks and make like a half shelter, and I could pull a tarp over it. Now I have like a half shelter.
Now, see, I don't think I'd be good at that. Like building a shelter. You've seen some of my stuff.
I have seen, yes.
I think that I probably have to. If I was running out into the woods, having to go off grid for a while, I'd probably have to call Bruce and say, hey, come on, go with
Can
me.
you build me some shelter?
Yeah, build me some shelter, and then you can go home.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, and there's different, you don't have to do stuff like that. Like you can get a good pine tree or something that's going to always have
What about?
leaves
Let
on
me
it.
ask you this: what about caves? Are caves good?
Sure. You're out of the element. You get in there, start a fire, and
I know where a bunch of caves are.
yeah, you're out of the element. So get in there and build you a fire, and you don't have to worry about. We talked earlier about building a fire. Maybe someone's seen the smoke.
Right.
You don't have to worry about that as much. Right. If it's wintertime, you might be sharing it with a black bear here in Missouri,
Right.
or a bobcat, or summertime, you might.
I'd share it with him too.
You might catch one of those copperheads, maybe cooling off from the afternoon sun.
I wouldn't share none with him.
I'll take the berries, but
I'll
not the
take
snakes.
the bears, but I won't take the snakes.
So yeah, there's all kinds of different ways, and when you go to make your bag specific for you, research. I mean, everybody has a phone that has internet, computers, whatever.
Right.
Say to yourself, what would I need? And then if you think, okay, well, maybe I need a certain type of water bag or whatever, do research on them. But it doesn't have to cost a fortune to go do it. Like I said, I got maybe $45 in my bag total, and that includes the bag.
Right.
There are things I'm seeing online that they're kind of like, they're overdoing it, they're overkilling it, and it's not because I was in the military. I think I'm smart, I know what I'm doing. I did a little research, and it's a little bit of common sense too. Do I want to run fast with the bag that has things I need to get by with, or do I want to
Go
maybe
slow
be
with a
the
100-pound bag.
yeah, maybe be
Right.
the last guy running, and I'm
Right.
dragging my 3-piece luggage set.
Right.
I've seen and heard from different people that you typically want your bag to be 15 to 18% of your body weight. I'm kind of a chunky kid. I'm around 207, 208. So my bag is less than 20 pounds. You know, you don't want to be running and, dragging that bag. So I also in my bag have 3 different kinds of trail mix just to kind of snack and nibble on. You know, I'm not saying in 72 hours you're going to be out there probably hunting down squirrels and things of that nature, but you're going to need some kind of something.
Sure.
You know, you can't just like grab stuff off the ground. Like mushrooms are really popular in Missouri. You can't just grab mushrooms and eat those. Those are bad. Apparently, grub worms are a thing of your taste.
Yeah, not of my taste, of my son's taste, not mine.
You can eat them. Grub worms are good for you. They have a lot of protein in them. But that's a lot of that stuff is not common knowledge for folks.
Well, he named off a lot of things. Grasshoppers.
Oh yeah, I've eaten some grasshoppers.
Yeah.
But the average Joe or Jane that is a situation where even if they're driving down the road and they see like an accident or something, maybe they don't know things, but hey, you know what? In my bag, in my car, I have some gauze I can help with.
So this ain't. I mean, this isn't just something. This isn't just something that is ready for if I got to take off. This is something that you carry around in your trunk or something, just for emergency situations.
Yeah, I mean it's more or less a first aid kit, but it has a few things in there to go beyond that. Yeah. Like I have fire starters, things of that nature. But that's just me and what I've been trained to do and what I know how to do. Right. But yeah, if you're going down the highway and you see a car accident, you say to yourself, "Hey man, I got 3 rolls of gauze in my car and some tape, and maybe I can put some pressure on somebody's got a boo-boo or whatever until the paramedics come." Right. Yep. That might be the difference in somebody's, health.
I was also saying you got a suture kit in there.
I do.
That's what I actually thought when I brought up the fish hooks. That's exactly. I mean, that's really what I thought the fish hooks were for. But the suture kit in there, is quite fascinating to me.
It's one of those things, Uncle Sam.
He knows how to sew you up, man.
I learned how to do stitches, and it's. I don't know. I mean, you could close the wound. You can do it. Obviously, you're going to need more medical attention. I'm not a doctor. It's just something I've learned.
Right.
When I learned it, we practiced on chicken breast. Make a slice in it, and we were taught how to sew up a chicken breast, basically. Right.
Now, a suture kit like that, does that have the crooked needle in it?
Yep,
curved
it does.
Needle?
Yep, it does. And I also I have another needle, which is probably a little bit more aggressive. My stepdad was a mortician, and I have a needle that they would use to
those are the big ones.
Yeah,
those are the big ones.
It's probably about that long, and it's kind of curved.
Right.
And it's scary looking.
Yeah, it is.
But that's me. That's what I have. I also have smelling salts. If somebody's faint, passes out, whatever. Yeah. And then a lot of these plate things too, you can find at like gun shows. They sell these things in bulk. Like my suture kit is where I got from a gun show in St. Charles, and it was just a couple bucks. Yeah.
They're having a big gun show over here in Farmington in February, I think it is.
And they'll probably have a lot of that
stuff.
We'll
get together. There. You can come down.
We'll go down there and stuff. Yeah, they they put out a lot of things because it's becoming more common now for people just to have an emergency bag. Right. So leaving the word bug out, kind of maybe not the right thing to say as far as describing it.
We'll call it EB, emergency bag.
Yep, they're big emergency bags. There's P38. It's a can opener. And it actually works better than a can opener you buy at a regular store.
Well,
I would rather have them in my house.
I've used them.
Just think it through. Sit down.
You get a lot of stuff at surplus too, right? At
surplus stores are becoming harder to find.
Yeah, and they're high.
They are because
good God,
the things are becoming popular.
Yeah.
Like I was saying, like my medical stuff, I went to a Dollar Tree and just bought it all.
Yeah.
But like the other things, you're not always going to buy them all at the same place. You just, like I said, make a little list, do a little research, and then go about, picking out your things that you think that you're going to be needing, tailored to you, not, just in general.
I went to the big surplus store down there on 44, this side of Lebanon.
Yeah.
It's a great big surplus.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about on the way to Fort Leonard.
Yeah. And I stopped in there. I was going to buy me some green T-shirts, And, man, I looked at the price on those, man. And I went to Walmart.
Right.
Yeah, it's actually cheaper, believe it or not, to go on Amazon and buy some of that stuff.
Oh, yeah. Well, I would imagine, yeah.
But for whatever reason, I guess maybe the prepping or, you know, the new lifestyle that people have with making some of these bags is becoming popular. Well, it's an easy way to make a few extra bucks. You know, Army Navy stores used to be able to go in there and, man, you can almost start your own World War with some stuff. Now you can't even go in there and buy the breakfast MRE, the egg one, for less than $20. And I can tell you for a fact, I never seen one person in 6.5 years in the Army eat an egg MRE, which is why the Army surplus stores loaded with them. But just simple things that I see and I recognize and I put it together. I also have a bag that has 2 pairs of socks. Having healthy feet so you can move around, keep from trench foot, blisters, things of that nature, keep your feet dry. That was always a thing in the military. Keep your feet dry.
A bad thing,
it is.
Bad
so I got 2 pairs of socks and an extra pair of eyeglasses in there.
Right.
You know, it's just one of those things where, you know, I feel like I can do and take care of what I can.
That sushi kid just fascinates.
Hey, we can practice.
We'll break it out here in a little bit.
Let me cut you. Let me cut you. No.
Here, let me cut you.
No, take one for the team here, man. Let me cut
you and let's practice on you.
We'll have it on the show, man, of him sewing you up.
Well, I'd rather him sew you up.
I'm on blood thinners, man. I'll bleed out.
Well, then to see how good he is.
I do have a tourniquet.
There you go. Problem solved.
Man, you guys ain't fair at all. You know. So okay.
So yeah, that's that's basically.
I've learned a lot. Yeah.
You know, just the things that I carry. I just, you know, I don't. Some people look at you like, man.
Where do you pick up the little saw at?
You can get at Walmart.
Really?
Yep. They're just a couple $bucks.
I've seen that. That's like the chainsaw, right? I mean, chain. Yeah.
Yeah, it's, you know, or
probably sharp.
I don't know. I've never.
Is it like a little cable? Is that what it is?
Yeah. I think it was like $4 or $5, but yeah, it's just, you know, a little cable, or you could actually get a bicycle chain and do the same thing with it.
Really?
Like if you take apart a bicycle chain, or if you have a chain, you can run 2 things on the end of it and get the same effect.
Hey.
You know, it's.
I got bicycle chains.
I know you do.
Here's something.
Okay.
That we were throwing around not too long ago. Now, let's go way out. Okay. End of the world. All right. Doomsday. You know, which may not be way out, but anyway, you know, mushroom clouds everywhere. You know.
They're up there in the Senate trying today. So.
Yeah, I'm telling you. Now, the thing that whenever I talk to people and say, "What would you do?" You know, wow. Well, how would you make it? You know, not one person that I've ever talked to will talk about the well. Okay, we have become so accustomed, okay, to that electric light being there, turning on the water and water coming out.
Yep.
They ain't none of this stuff going to be working, folks. Okay, so how? Okay, I've got a 230-foot well over there. How am I going to get water out of that well? Okay, nobody thinks about that. So I devise, and that's for another show, but I've devised a way to get water out of my well if that should ever happen.
Have you now?
Yes, I have.
Okay.
You've seen some of my stuff that I built.
Yeah, and I've seen it thrown in the scrap pile.
Now, you know, Missouri is really popular because of, like, the Ozarks, the type of rock that we have. And there is a place in between Branson and Springfield where this guy built this crazy-looking castle thing.
Yeah.
But he built it on top, almost like Batman, on top of a cave system in the Ozarks.
Really?
Yeah, I can't think of, but there's actually a name for it. I'll have to Google it and pass it on to you.
Well, we've got a lot of shelf rock.
Yeah.
You know, that, like you said, there's a lot of caves, man.
Yeah, there is.
There's
And there's Springfield, the city of Springfield in Missouri, half of their industrial district is underground. It's called Underground Springfield. And if you Google it, there's a lot of trucking companies that go in and out of there, and it's storage, and it is literally like 40,
Have you ever been in there?
40 feet below the city of Springfield.
Cool, isn't it?
Not in Springfield.
I have. I've been into one in Springfield.
But I've been in one up Independence, Missouri. It's called the Space Center, is what it's called. Well, the first time I went there, they sent me to the Space Center. I was like, oh man, Space Center.
You thought you were seeing astronauts?
Yeah, I'm
and
going to
rocket
see some.
ships?
Yeah. You know, NASA
Yeah,
must have.
Missouri is known for NASA.
Yeah, NASA must have a place up here or something. You know, it is humongous. There's traffic lights. There's
Yes,
stop
that's
signs.
why that is
there's,
down there.
It's a
There's
working,
freaking
functioning city.
restaurants. And it's like an underground city.
Yeah.
You
St. Louis
actually
has one too off of Coke Road,
Yeah.
255
Yeah.
by Jefferson Barracks Bridge.
exactly. You actually you forget you're in a cave. You know.
Until the
Did you?
earthquake
I mean,
comes,
you know,
then you'll remember that you're in a
Yeah,
cave.
well, I'll tell you what. I was backed into a dock and was unloading one time, and in the space
Right.
center up there, right? And the truck next to me catches on fire.
Wow.
Okay, so I'm thinking, you know, this probably not good, you know, in a cave, you know, for all this black smoke to be rolling around,
Yeah.
you know. So I get out of my truck, which you're supposed to stay in your truck. Okay, you're not
Well,
allowed.
I mean,
on-
if you got a fire going on next to you, you probably want to get out.
Well, here's the deal, though. I get out, I go back to the docks, I go inside, right, to tell them, hey, there's a fire out here, you know, because the driver wasn't nowhere around. There's a fire out here. Well, I didn't know. He might be in the sleeper, you know. I didn't check.
Right.
I probably should have.
Probably.
But anyway, you know, I run into enormous warehouses, you know. I run in there, I can't find a soul. You know why? They had already evacuated. Yeah. And left us guys out
Left
there.
poor little Dougie out there with the fire.
Yeah.
And all you were doing was the right thing, staying in your truck.
Yeah. They told me to stay in my truck. I did, you know. Until I couldn't breathe no more because of the black smoke.
Right.
I probably should have got out
I
of
wonder
there
what kind of
earlier.
ventilation system that
They
would
got
have
to
to
have
be.
some kind of big
They've
exhaust
got a
system.
great ventilation
But,
system.
you know, like you're saying to the cave thing, one of the state parks over between us, I have found quite a few in there. Just kind of like messing around or whatever. And yeah, I mean, if I was in a situation where I was homeless, guess what? I'm
Right.
taking me and my little bag. And
Right.
at least I know there's something over my head to prevent me
Right.
from being on the elements.
Not only there, but not only that, but there you could trout fish.
Yeah. Throw it right off the cliff.
Only if you got your tag for the day.
No,
Yeah, you
I
have
don't
to
need
buy
it.
a
I don't need a tag.
You don't.
I do not, and I'll show you why.
Yeah.
Being a veteran in the state of
I always
Missouri,
get ready to say.
you have to be over a certain disability rating, I believe.
Right.
But I have a forever fishing license.
Cool.
See there?
Yep.
So I never have to buy a fishing tag or none of that stuff. And
Yeah.
I just flip it out for the
Right on.
conservation
There you
agent.
go.
And the only thing it does not cover is turkey and deer tags.
Yeah.
See, I will have one of something similar to that.
I think that's just because of age.
Yeah, in another 3 years. Another 3 years, I don't have to buy none
You'll
of
be
that stuff
grandfathered into
anymore,
the system.
You know,
Yeah.
not because I'm old either.
Oh,
Bruce.
no. Nobody. No, that wouldn't even.
I think, you know, with the way conservation, I'm really big into it, but I believe, like, just military, police, fire, I don't think you should pay for that.
I don't think you should.
You
either.
know, they raise the prices every year anyway, so, you know, they're always
Right.
going to get fishing license. But, I mean, if
Oh,
you're
absolutely.
a policeman, fire, military, whatever,
Right.
you know, you should maybe be able to get a free fishing license.
Exactly.
You know, give them
Sure.
an
Well,
ID.
we were talking on the last show or the show before last. We got onto a subject of, you know, at 18 years old, you can go and you can join the military, and by gosh, you can go to a foreign land somewhere and you can operate equipment that is worth billions of dollars. You can kill people. You can get shot at. You can put your life on the line, and you can come home and you can't buy a beer.
And now you have to be 21 to buy cigarettes when you come home from that
What?
country.
I mean, come on, people.
Yep.
Come on.
Well, they're kind of occupied with trying to destroy the government right now to make rational decisions. But yeah, I mean, when I was stationed in El Paso down in Texas at Fort Bliss,
Right.
as long as, well, if you're a military person, as long as you're on post, you were allowed to drink.
Right.
Under 21.
Yeah.
Right. How do you like?
But I think they've since changed that.
How do you like paying for Pelosi's witch hunt? I mean, I'm telling you what. You know what she said?
I don't know if she's ever been to California to ever do anything. She spends all of her time up in Washington.
None of them
trying-
have.
No.
None of them have. They've not been in their home state. You know, they haven't done anything.
They're not taking
What
care
they were
of
elected
homeless
for.
folks, health care, the economy. Well, they're taking care of the economy because they're spending a bunch of money that
Exactly.
could be going somewhere else.
Here's what I want to know. Before all this surfaced, okay, there was a big freaking investigation. I mean, the Capitol was going nuts because of these 2 children at the Mexican border that have been taken from their parents. Okay, now you don't hear nothing about them kids.
No, they're yesterday's news.
Yeah, that's yesterday's, man. We're on Trump now. Yeah.
Yep.
We're gonna impeach him. That's the stupidest stuff I've ever heard of. Don't get me going, by God.
Well, when you hold money back from a country that you probably shouldn't be funding their military operations anyway,
Right.
how are you gonna, go after the person that withheld that money? Why were you giving them that money anyway?
Well, we learned that over in the sandbox, didn't we?
Yep.
They the biggest part of the time they were fighting us with weapons that we had gave to them.
When I was in Afghanistan in 2008, a lot of the weaponry that the Taliban and whatnot were using were the weapons that the CIA gave the Afghans to fight the Russians back in the 80s.
Right.
And they were using those against us.
Check it
so
out.
basically, we armed them to fight us.
There you go.
Check it out. Yeah.
Yep.
You knew that, didn't you?
Stupid.
You knew that.
I did know
Not
that.
to mention
I
the
did
$50,
too.
Yes,
the $50
I knew
million that Obama gave Iran
Right.
while he was in office to help fund them to.
Did you see the picture? Did you see the picture of Hillary on? It was floating all over Facebook. She's standing on this stage, with everybody out there, and she's waving everything, and all this confetti coming down. Have you seen that picture yet? The caption says, "Is that confetti or 30,000 shredded emails?"
Oh.
In her case, I'm sure it would probably be the email.
It would probably be the emails. I'm telling you. Although
I don't know nothing about them.
I want to put that out, I know absolutely nothing about the Clintons. Nothing.
I don't know nothing either. We should all be safe.
That's
We
right.
should be.
That's right. Okay, we're about out of time, I think.
Yep, we're getting close.
Anyway, and I'm going to have you back. Hey, I tell you, I came up with an idea for us.
Okay.
While you were going through, which this is great. I'm telling you, I learned a lot with you talking about this. I think that it would be neat. Okay, after we get this tech. Okay, her name's Lexi.
Yeah, like she is going to do it for us.
Huh?
You already count your chickens before they're hatched.
She's gonna do it. Okay,
All
she's
right.
gonna do
I
it.
hope she does.
Maybe not for you, but hey, look at me.
You can't up perfection.
Hey, look at me. Right?
He's got a 4.6.
4.6.
Yeah,
baby.
4.6. Yeah, you're right.
No, what I thought would be neat is like you and maybe Keith, this spring or summer, when he's in the area. You guys coming down, we'll take the cameras and we'll go out, and we could do a show about field survival.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
I think that would be really neat.
Yep. I think it would be
I think it'd be
educational.
neato.
Educational for a lot of folks
Be
that
bitching.
that
It
want
would
to
be.
get out and do that stuff.
It would be. This stuff right here was educational.
Yeah, it's not, I'm not trying to get on here and make it out like I'm some super survivalist or nothing. Everything that I do and know is from the military, but, I just, I've always had a constant awareness that things happen.
There's going to be
Right.
people out there, man, that went, hey, I didn't think of that. Yeah.
Right.
Yes. I didn't think of it.
I never even once thought.
But you know what? There's going to be one of these bags in my truck.
Yep.
Simple
yeah.
things,
My
man.
pickup.
Just simple stuff. Even like
Yeah,
a
because
good
you drive
first
that
aid
Ford.
kit.
You might need it one day when it breaks down.
What do you drive?
I drive a Ford too.
Okay.
I have nothing to say as I as well. I'm driving a Ford.
But anyway, let's go ahead and say goodbye until the next time we meet, which may be, I don't know. Who knows?
Who knows? Could
We
be
don't know.
today. Could be tomorrow.
We might be on this evening. I don't know.
Who knows?
Who knows? We don't know.
That's right. But what do you got to stand up for?
You don't have to stand tall, but you do have to stand up. Thanks for watching, folks, and we'll see you again. Thanks. Did I already say thanks? I said thanks twice, didn't I? I'm okay.
Turn it off.
That's okay.